Oh, what's up, everybody? Hello, hello. Welcome to Monday Night. My name is Billy Floyd. Joining us tonight is my good friend, Drew Miller. As you can see, this fantastic gentleman with the yellow gloves, just so sexy. He's got one of the best beards in Orlando. He won Beard of the Year 2 years in a row, 2021, 2022, 2023. He was unseated by a fantastic beard gentleman who came in all the way from Germany, which is fantastic. None of that is real, but we're super excited. We're going to be sitting down with him and talking about Petal Honey Company, which is super cool. It's a honey company, and he actually gave me some honey. I'm looking at it right now. It's fantastic. But I wanted to put this banner up just because I'm proud of it. It looks beautiful. Drew looks beautiful. Just fantastic. We're going to be chatting about it, where it comes from, how it all got started, and really, really excited. Drew and I have known each other for a long time, and we're going back years and years and years. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Drew Miller. There he is, right there. What's up, dude?
Hey,
good to see you, man. Thanks for coming in.
Of course.
It's good. I haven't seen you in, what, 7 years?
It's been a long time.
It's been a while, bro.
Yeah, you still look great.
It's the same, bro. You haven't aged a day.
I'll take it. I feel like the last 4 years I've gotten more wrinkles and more wrinkles up here.
Yeah.
Well, dude, maybe the hat hides it.
You burn the candle. You got a lot going on.
Yes.
You know, you've ever since I've known you, you've been a hard worker. You've got a lot going on. You're a father to 3.
4.
4. And you and your wife, Kristen, have been married how long?
This year will be 18 years.
18 years and four little ones.
Well, not so much. They're real spread out. So
Gotcha. How old's the oldest?
16 is our oldest.
Wow.
Yeah, 16, 12, 6, and 1.
Holy Moses, bro.
We got the spread.
1 year,
Yeah.
16.
Yes.
Now, I imagine the older kids help with the younger kids.
Yeah. And Ava is our oldest. She's very much an old soul.
And she's really good.
Just very helpful. Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah,
dude. Get closer to that microphone.
Here we go.
Yeah, you can move the microphone if you want to. It's fully wherever you want to be. I want you to be comfortable, sir.
Thank you.
I love it, man. So, dude, thank you so much for coming in. You and I talked a little bit ago. I actually saw your wife put a post up on Facebook not too long ago, and we were kind of getting into it, kind of talking a little bit about what was going on with Petal Honey Company. We talked a little bit about some of the partners you were working with, but I kind of wanted to dig into this because I love talking to people that are passionate and people that are local, right here in Orlando. Now, how far away from my house are you? Because I would imagine not too far.
Yeah, it only took 27 minutes.
I was going to say probably about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So talk about local, bro. You're local.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Dude, that is super cool. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you're joining us tonight, please, by all means, feel free to share the show. It is free. It's my favorite 4-letter F word. You can share it on your social medias. And we're going to go ahead and look at the website. We're going to talk to Drew a little bit about how the idea came up, like where this all came from. Not only is he one of the co-founders or founders of Petal Honey Company, but also a musician.
Yeah.
A dad, a husband, a creator, a carpenter, a construction person. When one time we were talking, you were installing carpet and flooring,
Yep.
and now that we're kind of catching up, a father to 4, 18 years married. 16 to 1, which is a heck of a spread. I love that. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah. And by this time, I imagine you and your wife are fantastic at raising kids. You've done it 3 times already.
You would think. I mean, you're constantly learning.
It all changes.
There is a difference between preparing for your first and then having your 3rd or 4th.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, a little more.
It's different every time.
It is. Yeah. And it actually feels the same when we found out we were having our youngest. Her name's Rosemary. The feeling was similar to when we were going to have our oldest. And,
okay.
It's just this excited but intimidated feeling, I don't think there really is a perfect time. You won't have a set amount of funds to make it make sense. But
so if you're waiting for the perfect moment for the plans to align, don't do that.
No,
it's not going to happen.
No, you just do your best.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're doing your best, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's happy and healthy. You got a good, healthy family, a supportive wife, which is awesome. A fantastic household.
Yeah.
And now let's chat about Petal Honey Company. How did you find yourself in the honey business? Let's talk about that because you're a man of many talents, bro. An incredible musician as well. Your DADEAE tuning that you taught me when we were camping years ago.
Wow.
I wrote a song with it immediately. It wound up on our next album. It's one of my favorite songs to play. I love that tuning.
Yeah.
Incredible musician. You've been writing for a long time. You've been recording music for a long time. You've been a part of your community for a long time. Mm-hmm. And with all of your knowledge and everything that I knew about you, the next thing I know, you own a honey company.
Yeah.
So let's chat about Petal Honey Company. Where did this concept, this idea come from? Where was your motivation started?
Yeah, so the world of honey, I never planned on it. I never expected this to be part of our story. About four and a half, 5 years ago, I was full-time in music, and just was a music director out near UCF, and just felt like our season was done, and my wife and I both sensed the same thing, and so we stepped down, and so in the meantime, I just started taking odd jobs. I started working at an early age, I remember when I was 15, my dad, we got in the truck. I thought we were going to do something fun. I didn't even question it, and we drove a couple miles from the house and went to a plant nursery. I'm like, "What are we doing?" And he goes, "This is where you're going to spend the summer." And yeah.
Did you pack?
Yeah, no, I just no.
You just got in the truck.
Yeah, so it was plant nursery. He's like, "Here, introduced me to the owner," and the guy was real short, real tough, and he goes, "You know how to drive a tractor?" And I'm like thinking,
And how old were you?
15.
You're 15 years old.
Yeah.
Get in the truck with your dad.
Yep.
Brings you to a plant, and this is where you're going to be for the summer.
Yeah, this is where you're going to work. And yeah, the guy's like, "You know how to drive a tractor?" I'm like, "No." And he handed me the keys, and he goes, "Don't break it."
Yeah. You're about to learn.
Yeah, I learned. He goes, this whole side of the nursery had froze over the winter, and no one wants to touch it or clean it up. All the plants, they died. And
Sure.
So handed me tractor key, gloves, and
that's all you,
just
bro.
said, "This is your job." And so, yeah, I didn't, it's just kind of like you just make it up.
Sure.
And the concept was simple. You just clean it up. And but under almost every rim of the pot was, or the pots were black widow eggs, and I'd never seen black widows before.
That was my next question. So as soon as people start talking about agriculture and plants that haven't been touched in a while, nature takes over real fast.
Yeah.
Real fast.
Mm-hmm.
So continue. So you've never seen anything like this before.
So anyway, that's where just learning hard work and
Yeah.
just rolling with things started. It started at an early age, and then from that time on, I learned to work hard. Construction stuff. Once you learn one thing, you can learn other things. It's pretty relative. So
yeah, I would imagine the work ethic itself is what actually translates. And sometimes the skill, of course, but even if you're doing something completely different, you can take some work ethic skills from one to a job, but even from one job to another. But even if you're talking about different paths of responsibility, completely different things, it's your work ethic really that's going to help you find success. So it sounds like at 15 years old, you were kind of tossed in the deep end.
Yeah, and even before that, just playing soccer. Grew up playing soccer a lot. My parents always put me on teams where I was, playing with much older boys, and my skill was never on par with theirs.
Which is good.
I learned quickly that if my work ethic on that field, I wasn't thinking in those terms, work ethic, but I knew if I had enough heart and I pushed hard enough that I would get more playing time. So I think from an early age it started to kind of shape that work ethic or my heart towards something, and just doing my best. And
absolutely. So that summer at 15 years old, like what was some of your more memorable moments through that whole? So did your dad bounce? Did he leave and go home?
Yeah, I mean, great dad. I mean, don't hear that he dropped me off and this was a bad thing.
Yeah, he's like, "I love you.
Yeah.
This is going to help."
Yeah.
And you're gonna get busy. You're gonna learn a lot. And how did he know the owner of this nursery?
A friend of his knew the owners. It was kind of a friend of a friend, and he wanted me to start working. I might have even mentioned that I wanted to start working.
Sure.
He gave me his truck at the time and gave me time to work on it. But there were things I wanted to buy, so he knew you need to learn to make money and that type of stuff. So,
dude, so those life skills. Those life skills, and it's interesting, especially coming from somebody who has a daughter that's 16 and another daughter that's 1.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would imagine the life skills, especially with the way that society has transformed over the last 16 years. Mm-hmm. Just the things that you teach your children, and from 16, from that first child, we're going to try to instill these specific types of pillars into them that just try to help them be a healthy person, a good member of society, a good teammate. Yeah. It was one of my favorite things about playing soccer is it was a team sport.
Sure.
And it's like, and it was very similar. Like I was always a little smaller than everybody else on the team, so I had to work twice as hard to get that spot, to get that JV spot, to get that varsity spot, and that work ethic, which, and you're right, at that age, you don't think of it as a work ethic, but you just know if you put in the time, if you work really hard, you'll get more playing time. And it's like that in life too. If you put in the time, if you work really hard, you get to make some more of your own independent choices than having to go by the flow of somebody else's choices. So how was that summer for you? Like, what were some of the more memorable moments you had?
I can't even really recall. It was
Aside from the Black Widows, of course.
It was the onset when I think back to that. It was that first day that really sticks in my mind.
Yeah.
After that, it was more just, coming to terms with what I was there to do.
Sure.
I wish there was some excitement to share, but it was really pretty monotonous.
Yeah.
Well,
again, that's part of the life lesson,
Yeah.
like a lot of the things that we do, we don't realize the monotony that's involved in it when it's like, but when you look at the first time you stepped into that nursery and that space before you had even touched it, all the way until when it was done and it was clean, I bet that was a pretty good sense of like accomplishment.
Sure.
To look at it and be like, man, I really worked hard on that, and look at that. And there's a physical representation of your hard work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice,
Yeah,
dude.
and and that translates to a lot of what I've done throughout my life. There is a reward to that hard work.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess now that we're talking about it, thinking back to that time, the father and his son who owned this nursery, they were different than people I had encountered up until that point.
Gotcha.
And so just being around, just different personalities.
Sure.
They were just kind of hard and tough and short.
Gotcha.
There was no coddling. And when I juxtapose, now to then.
Sure.
I just think about, again, the work ethic, the just pushing for, taking responsibility. That was a big
Accountability,
thing,
responsibility.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome, dude. That's awesome. And you got to learn how to drive a tractor.
Yeah.
I like that he just gave you the keys.
Yeah.
He's like, you'll be fine.
Yeah. He's probably thinking it's hard to break this
Don't
thing.
break
You'll
it.
probably use this to break yourself or something else.
You're not going to break the tractor.
Yeah, you're not
You're
gonna
going to break some other things.
Right.
Nice,
Yeah.
dude.
And it's still, being on a tractor is my favorite place. It's my happy place.
That's what I was about to ask.
Yeah.
Do you harken back to that time where you were handed those keys and you figured it out and you felt that sense of like, wow, this is really cool? Like, is that something that you kind of look back, or how did you feel driving that tractor when you were 15 years old, never doing it before? And then at the end of the summer, how was your confidence level there?
Yeah. I mean, I think the progression, yeah, it was a natural progression. But yeah, I don't know that there's a conscious decision or
Sure.
conscious recollection when I get on a tractor now, thinking back to there. But I think on a subconscious level, there is something there.
Yeah.
Where that first, you hand someone the keys, you're communicating in a way some trust.
I trust you.
Yeah. And
these tractors aren't cheap.
Yeah, and just the feel of a diesel, tractor.
Yeah, sure. Power
and
and responsibility.
yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that I continuously think about when somebody entrusts me with something else. It's not necessarily the item, it's the responsibility of what I can do with that item.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, you're going to break this or break that or break yourself before you break the tractor. And you're like, oh, you're right. I'm going to be super delicate with this, but you can't be too delicate because you got to learn.
Yeah.
You got to push the buttons, you got to pull the levers, you got to figure out how to do that. And I think those beginning steps of, okay, I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to figure it out. Mm-hmm. I think using that analogy and trying to take those specific steps into anything that you do, anything that really anybody does, is like, I don't know exactly how to do this, but we're going to figure it out. I'm going to figure it out. And it sounds like you've kind of taken those specific steps and success and brought them into so many other different realms.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, Petal Honey Company.
Yeah.
And you were in construction for a long time.
Yeah, I learned to do so in high school. It was my mission to be a valet parking guy.
Okay.
I wanted to valet park. Just not that I was just a car nerd. And,
Yeah.
But I just thought it'd be fun to drive the Ferraris, the fancy cars, and
Sure.
so I was just determined to do that. And man, I feel bad. I'm going down these rabbit trails.
No.
But as we're talking about,
we love rabbit trails. Lisa Wine loves rabbit trails. Kyle loves rabbit. We all love rabbit trails, bro. This is what it's all about, man.
Okay, so I'll tell you about the valet parking real fast. I wanted to valet park, so I showed up at Millennium Mall, and I was like, I'm going to apply to valet park here.
Okay. A Millennium Mall, that's some money right there, dude.
Well, I don't know how I thought to go there, but I thought, for some reason I thought, let me check here.
Yeah.
So I get there, and there's a group. The guy I got there, somehow I ended up inside, kind of below the food court area.
You said you were in high school, so you're what, 17, 16 at this time?
I would say, yeah, somewhere around 17.
Okay.
Yeah, if I had to guess. And so somebody told me they were inside. So I went inside, and it looked like they were having an interview.
Okay.
And so I just kind of rolled. I just rolled into the interview, and
you're part of the interview now.
I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? So there's a group of people, and they're talking, and I just rolled in. So next thing I know, there's a little debriefing, but we go out to the parking lot.
They don't know that you just strolled in the door.
Yeah, no. So,
You're part of the new hire orientation, apparently.
yeah. Yeah. So,
Okay.
so
Okay.
I think at some point they said we can only take X amount of number of people. I think 3 sticks out in my head.
Okay.
And I can't. If I had to guess, I'd say close to 10 people were in this.
Okay.
So, but
So there's some competition here.
yeah. So what they wanted to do first was see who could back in.
Yeah.
This whatever. I don't know where their parameters were,
Sure.
safest, fastest.
Yeah, whatever.
Whoever exuded confidence.
Yeah.
But
Whoever can back this car in.
yeah. So
A lot of backing in valet.
yes,
I valeted
so-
for a while. A lot of backing in.
There's a lot of backing in. I backed in. They picked me and hired me, and I'm just like,
You weren't even supposed to be
wasn't
there.
even supposed to be there. So my dream of all dreams of being a valet parker just came to fruition.
You walked in at the right time.
That was it.
I mean, when you talk about what is that, kismet? Like when we talk about those perfect things happening, and you're not even meaning them to happen. Like you just went because you were interested. You open the door. Next thing you know, you literally roll into a new hire orientation of 10 people. You roll out, and only 30% got a job. You backed a car in, and the guy who didn't even know that there was an orientation going on, that had no idea what was going on whatsoever, got hired.
Yeah. Yeah.
How long did you valet there for?
I don't know. They own 3 locations. So
Okay.
I popped around to the different locations. And
Do they know this story? Like, do they know now what happened?
No, and I don't even
Awesome.
know anybody there.
Gotcha. Well, it's a long time ago.
It ran its course.
Nice.
I mean, I enjoyed it, but
Sure.
after
But it checked the box.
It did, and
Nice.
I realized very quickly that what I had hoped it would be is very different than the reality of it.
Right.
If someone parks a nice car, you respect that car, and
Yeah.
you just drive it slowly. It's not like
100%.
Ferris
Yeah,
Bueller,
when you're driving a Ferrari, like I valeted for what actually got me the job is I was just with my buddy Joel, and we both worked at Outback, and I was going to my house one day, and he was coming over to hang out, and I backed into my driveway. He goes, "That was awesome, dude," and I go, "What was awesome?" He goes, "You backed this car up, like that was incredible." And he goes, "Have you ever thought about valeting?" And I go, "No." He goes, "If you can back up and you can drive a stick, you can valet." And I go, "Oh, okay, let me try it out."
Yeah.
So he goes, "Hey, we do it every Thursday at this specific place." And I go, "Okay, cool." Bro, it was fun. We drove some really nice cars.
Yeah.
And then we started valeting other places as well. And then, like you said, it kind of ran its course.
Yeah.
But it was really nice. The first time I got in a Maserati, I had no idea how to start it.
Oh.
I was a little embarrassed.
Uh-huh.
I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it, and this is a very expensive car.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going, and his brother, Jason, Joel and Jason work together. Jason comes up, he goes, "You don't know how to start this car, do you?" And I go, "I have no idea." He goes, "Hit that button, flip that lever, push that pedal in, put that in gear, and hit start." And I went, I would have never figured that out.
Yeah.
Like ever. But like you said, it's not Ferris Bueller, man. You're not taking it around the block. You're driving very carefully, very nicely. But it is really, really cool. And I did that for a little bit as well. What got me the job was just being able to back up.
Yeah.
And I love how you just rolled accidentally into new hire orientation.
It's a good story. Yeah.
And again, like you said, part of that is I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to do my best.
Yeah.
You want to be able to achieve. You put all your skills to work,
Right.
and you're like, man, now you 3 out of 10 people get hired.
Sure.
You weren't even supposed to be there, and you got the job.
Yeah. Yeah. But the point of the valet rabbit hole was to say that I did that, but I wanted to learn something new,
Sure.
and I'm always wanting to learn something new. I'm just love just learning, reading books, just learning. Love and I tend to be a visionary, big picture. If I can think of something here, I can dial backwards.
Yeah.
But
Kind of reverse engineer it and
Yeah.
figure out how do we get there.
Yeah.
Even though we have no idea how to get there, let's reverse engineer it and see where we start.
Right. And then once you get there, try to destroy it and think like, where could this go wrong?
Yeah. How do I break it so
Yeah.
I know how to fix it?
Exactly. So, somebody had approached me at some point in the valet journey and said, "Would you want to learn to do flooring?" And again, me just being inquisitive,
Curious.
wanting to learn something new. I was like, sure, why not?
Yeah.
So started doing flooring with him. And then graduated high school. Started my own flooring business. And was like, I enjoyed it, again, learning new things. And so I worked with him for a while, but it got to the point where he would send me to a job.
Yeah.
And I would do a whole house, and he's, paying me $12 an hour, back then. I graduated in 04, so this would have been sometime around 2004, 2005. But then I was like, this doesn't make sense. So I
Yeah,
started
$12 an hour. I
Yeah.
can do this whole thing myself.
Yeah.
Now the real job is getting clients and make sure they pay you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Thankfully, I never had to deal with that.
So how far into that did you decide, you know what, I'm confident enough to go out on my own. I'm going to start my own flooring company.
I don't remember. I'd have to say 8, 9 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It
So
wasn't.
less than a year.
It wasn't long.
You were like, I got this.
quick learner. Well, I just kind of fell into it,
Sure.
where it'd be, people would find out I did it, and they would ask, hey, would you consider trying this, or
Sure.
and we've been in Orlando our whole lives. My family has 5 generations in Orlando.
Wow.
Yeah, and so you just
Holy Moses,
it just-
dude.
it just
5
happened.
generations.
Yeah,
That's incredible, bro.
yeah,
Nice. So you're born and raised Orlando, Florida.
yeah. I love Florida.
Wow. I imagine the network that you have built and your family has built over the last 5 generations, just of people and businesses and just the community itself, is pretty vast.
Yeah, and dynamic too.
Yeah.
As I've worn these different hats throughout the years, and
Yeah.
it is a dynamic.
So from the flooring business, what did you step into next? Because now
So-
we're talking about 20 years ago, 2004.
Yeah, so I had a love for music since I was in middle school, and then just from middle school to high school, just kept doing it in churches. Kind of saw the politics of church towards the end of high school. I stopped doing it for a little bit to pursue the flooring business.
Sure,
And
sure,
didn't-
sure.
and then my wife and I knew we were going to get married, so got married around that time, and just kind of stepped down from that, but really just felt drawn and called back into that. Just didn't know what that would look like. So then just took a couple part-time jobs as a music director in churches, and then the passion just came. It never left. It just felt like that's what we were supposed to really do.
Sure.
And so pursued that till it became full-time. And so flooring followed me all these years, but leading worship in churches is where I spent a good chunk of the next.
Yeah. A large period of time.
Right. And so did that up until the COVID season, full time. And flooring really wasn't a thing. It just kind of tapered off over the years. But if we wanted to do a vacation or something, we would.
Yeah, take a couple jobs, make some money,
take some
put in the
jobs.
bank, and
Yeah.
you're good to go.
Yeah. And so when,
What a great trade. What a great skill set to have. I mean, it's timeless, dude.
Yeah. And then, during.
Everybody needs floors.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then during the COVID season where everybody's staying home, they want to do home renovations. So when I resigned, I just kind of like rolled back into that by default.
Gotcha.
And so I was giving an estimate in Belle Isle, and that's where I grew up. And after I gave this estimate on a decking job, I had a little bit of time, and I'd heard that there was a guy in there who sold honey. But I've passed this property my whole life, and
this is 2020-ish?
so this is 2020 or 2021.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere in between there.
Gotcha.
So I was like, you know what? I heard it's on the honor system. We love road tripping. We went to Zion one year, and when you drive throughout, the surrounding area of Zion National Park, families have just farm stands at the end of their streets, and it's on the honor system. And we drove to Prince Edward Island, and there's like mussels and fresh seafood at the end of people's driveways.
What?
And you just honor system. And I was like, and so. From doing that, I was
Is
like, I got to check out.
it a financial thing? Is it a barter thing? Like, I got a couple chickens, you have some,
No.
mangoes, and I'm going to trade you a chicken for
No,
10
because-
mangoes, or is it money?
No, it's money. Yeah.
Really?
You just.
So they have the price out there.
As you're driving, you'll see. So in Prince Edward Island, they would have coolers,
Okay.
and then it'd be different for each person's house, but they have a cup and a cooler, and you just pull over and see what's in the cooler, because
Is it something you want?
it's a fishing island.
Sure.
And you just kind of leave your money in a cup and take.
Whatever you're buying.
A cup. When you go to a restaurant and you see PEI mussels.
Sure.
That's where they're coming from. So you could
Prince
buy,
Edward Island.
Yeah, Prince Edward Island.
No way.
Yeah. So you could buy a whole 2-pound bag of mussels for probably $5.
Stop it. Dude, that's fantastic. I didn't even, I love the idea of that. I love the idea of that. To operate on the honor system, to be able to be like, I'm passionate about mussels. I'm going to put some mussels at the end of my driveway and some coolers. I'm going to put a price out there. I'm going to put a cup.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go get some more mussels. I'm going to live my life and do my thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back at the end of the day, take the mussels people didn't buy, and get my money.
Yeah.
And count it out, and look at that. Lo and behold.
Yeah. And the majority of people are honest.
Just
and,
sweet people.
I think we all have it in us to be honest, and
Yes.
to honor people, which is.
I heard a long time ago that people are born evil. Everybody is evil, and they learn to be good. And I don't want to believe that. I want to believe that people are genuinely born good. And out of trauma, out of like tumultuous relationships, out of turbulence through life, they become defensive and protective over themselves, which make them a little more, let me protect myself, let me take this for me.
Yeah.
Where it's the idea of scarcity instead of abundance.
Right.
You know, if we all live in a life of abundance, I'm not scared that I'm going to run out of bread. So I don't mind giving you bread. I don't mind sharing that because I know that the world will provide. You know, so when you talk about this kind of community that exists on the honor system of people just being passionate about something, I just trust you. I'm going to put it at the end of the road. If you want the mangoes, buy the mangoes, put the money in the cup.
Yeah.
Cool, here we go.
Yeah.
Where is Prince Edward Island? Where is this at?
So the purpose of the road trip was to get to Acadia, Maine.
Gotcha.
So we're like, we want to get to, you know, our trip to California years later, and prior in 2016, birthed this love for road tripping. And just, you know, before that, I knew you could drive anywhere.
Sure.
But it's a daunting thought. You know, so having driven all the way to Northern California and Oregon and then back and taking about 5 weeks to do that.
From Orlando.
Yeah, from Orlando.
That's a lot of miles, brother.
It's so fun.
I don't doubt it, especially if you guys got the right mindset.
Yeah, and it's really a balance. We learned a lot on that trip.
Yeah.
It's a balance of planning and spontaneity. And so
yeah.
you got to have
I like that.
You got to have many destinations. You got to have a big destination, but allow yourself the freedom to just
side quest.
Yeah. So we
explore.
When we crossed New Mexico and we got into New Mexico, I was like, no one told me. Like, this is a whole nother world out there. And we got into Arizona. We just stayed the night in Flagstaff. But we had looked up what are some things in the area.
Sure.
You know, we were going to go to the Grand Canyon. Heard of this Slide Rock State Park. And we're like, oh, we'll kill a couple
see what
hours.
that is. Yeah.
It was so incredible. We spent the entire day there.
Good.
And barely made it to the Grand Canyon. We got to see the sun go down.
Good.
And then we just pressed on to Zion.
That's awesome, dude.
But that trip, you know, sparked this love for road tripping. So our destination we wanted to go up the East Coast, see as much as possible. So we're like, let's go to Acadia. And as we were just kind of trip planning, my wife.
How did you choose Acadia?
We just kind of.
You're just like, Bink, let's go here.
Well, we're just like, what are some national parks or a route
Gotcha.
that can allow us to see as many as possible?
Okay.
And let's just kind of pick that. So one that we haven't done is kind of the middle. You know, we haven't done Yellowstone. We
Gotcha.
haven't done, you know, Grand Tetons or Glacier or any of that. So that's a big one on the list. So I hope we can afford to do that at some point.
Dude, a couple flooring jobs. I need a deck.
Yeah. Okay.
Put some money in your pocket, man.
Yeah.
Just take some awesome pictures.
Yeah.
You know, and that is a question I have. How do you discern when to take pictures and video and when to put the phone and the camera down and just enjoy?
In what context?
And just in your travels, like when you go to these parks, when you're watching these sunsets, you know, a lot of people live their life through the screen. Yeah. You know, they're watching the concert through the phone when you could put your phone down and watch the concert through your eyes. You know, and it's a completely different experience. But you also want to capture the moments so you can go back and you have those memories. But I think it's interesting sometimes that, you know, there's times where I forget to take pictures at all because I'm so just wrapped up in what's going on in real time.
Yeah.
Man, I wish I got a couple shots of that.
Yeah.
But then also I've seen friends and family that they just can't put it down, you know, and I'm like, hey man, you have 1,000 pictures of the same sunset.
Yeah.
Get 2, put it down, enjoy the sunset.
Yeah.
You know, like how do you guys find balance in regards to, I want to record the moment, but I also want to enjoy the moment when you talk about road tripping? Like, does your wife take the photos? Do you take the photos? Do you guys just kind of experience the memory and you share that and you have no photos? Like, how do you guys decide to do that? Because you have your kids with you as well.
Sure. Yeah. And the kids don't want to be propped up and, you know,
they're kids, dude.
Yeah. So I'd say we have a healthy balance. My wife does a better job at capturing the moment, but we're not screen people, you know, and so I definitely am not a screen person. The older I've gotten, the older I get, and the more disconnected from technology I want to be.
Yeah, and the more connected to reality you become, because again, it's a completely different experience.
Yeah, but it is so valuable to have those memories and see it. So I'd say we have a healthy balance. My wife does take more pictures, but we just are all good about just living in the moment. And,
bingo.
Yeah,
that's an important part about it too. So so you're on your trip to Acadia. How long did that take you to get, like, because it doesn't sound like you beelined it. It sounded like you side quested a little bit and you went for some exploring and you checked this out and you went to this place and you checked that place out. And some of the cool things you saw along the way were that honor system end of the driveway thing in Prince Edward Island. Had you ever seen anything like that before?
Well, we had seen that in
that same kind of honor system.
When we went to Zion, that was the first time we saw that. And
gotcha.
So some trips you can front load all
Sure.
the things you want to see, or you can try to balance it, half 50-50, where you anyway. But for those two big trips, we were heavy on the back end, where we saw more on the back end. So I'd say it took maybe 5 days to get up to Acadia. We wanted to see Boston, but I think we stayed one night. Just wanted to kind of do the brownstone thing, where you get to the picturesque things.
Yeah, of course.
But in all of it, it's impossible to see it all.
Dude,
there's so much to see.
There's so much, and I think people, generally, people don't understand the grandness of the United States.
Yeah.
Like I heard a while ago, somebody said, man, they were from the UK and they came over here, and they were talking to a couple of people over here, and they were just like, oh, have you traveled outside the United States? And they're like, no, like, why haven't you traveled? Mm-hmm. And then they started to understand that when you travel to the United States, you might as well be going country to country to country to country in Europe. Okay. From France to Spain to Germany to Italy, like they're all right there, but it's just like going from Florida to Alabama to Georgia to Tennessee, and they're all their different isolated spaces. Like I was really fortunate, Michelle, my friend Jay, the great Commodore, and I, we flew to Utah, and we moved Michelle down, and we drove from Utah to Florida, and it was 33 hours, and it was absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. And I, as soon as I got back, everybody that asked me how the trip went, I said, if you ever have the chance to just drive this country, drive the country. Yeah. I toured with Miggs in 2010, and we spent a long time on the road, and I much prefer that over flying in a jet. Just because you get to see the beauty that is this country, and every state is completely different from each other. You can cross the state line, it feels different, it looks different, it smells different, the food's different, the people are different, the views are different, everything is different. Like what a robust country we have, and like you said, you can't, there's so much to see. When was your last trip?
That was our last trip.
And how long ago was that?
I do not know. Sorry, I do not know.
You're good.
Golly, I don't know. I don't know what year that was.
Really?
Yeah, but I mean, it's easily been 5. Yeah, let me think, because Willow was a baby. She's 6 now, so I would say around 5 years ago.
Okay, so about 5 years ago.
Too long. Every year we're like, we're gonna get to the middle of the country.
Right.
And it because of just the dynamics
Everything.
of this honey journey, and
Sure.
it's just been, there's just no way we've been able to take the time or afford to do it. And
so along your travels, learning all these things, meeting all these people, seeing all these passions, how did it center on honey? How did you say, you know what, like there's a need, there's a passion, I'm interested in learning about this, I'm interested in learning about the community, bees, honey, like how did you, through all of these things, because it sounds like you kind of soak in knowledge and information you love to learn, and then you sound very concise when you make a decision. Like you pull the trigger, like you know what you want to do and you do it. And then you do it to the absolute best of your ability. You get to the very, very top of everything that you can do and you go, cool, I've learned as much as I can on this journey right now. I'm going to try something different. How did you find yourself on the path and journey of Petal Honey Company?
Yeah. And I'm not like on a mission to conquer something and move on to something new. Like if anything, I'd rather specialize and just stay in an area and see how much impact we can make there.
Okay.
It's just as we've gone throughout the ebbs and flows of our life, it's just, this is where we've been led to. And so with the honey, the world of honey and beekeeping and agriculture, I hope to stay here. Yeah.
What a robust thing to get involved in.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lifetime's worth of work to be done. So yeah, I mean, there was nothing from road tripping specifically that birthed a passion for beekeeping. Or even at that point, it wasn't even on my radar.
Really?
It wasn't until I stepped down from my full-time job. I was giving this estimate in Belle Isle, and I strolled on this guy's property because I'd heard he was on the honor system with honey. So I was like, I've passed this my whole life. I've got to stop and just buy honey. And so I just stopped, and he had honey up by his front door. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This is the brand of honey I've eaten my entire life. And I didn't know it was right here.
Right here?
Yes, right in my backyard.
In Belle Isle?
In my backyard.
What?
Yeah.
You're like, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Yeah. I recognize this.
Yeah. I mean, but even as an adult, I had just a loyalty to it. Yeah. Because it's what my parents bought. It's what my grandparents bought.
Like you said, you're 5th generation.
It was just in the cupboard.
Wow.
So at this point, I had to know more.
See, that's kismet, dude. That's what I'm talking about. Like it sounds, and if you've given me 3 stories already where you have naturally found yourself on this path. Like the valet story is fantastic. You just went on some random day to talk to some random person to find out some random thing, and you step into a new higher orientation and got the job. Like boom, done. It's like, okay, what's next? And you seemed like, and you've said this a couple times, which leads to another conversation. You felt called. You felt led there, you know, and you just allow yourself to be led. You allowed yourself to hear that calling, and you say, okay, let me find this. So you go, you check out this honey, you see that it's the kind of honey that you've enjoyed your whole life. And how did that, what was the next step there?
There's so much I want to hit on that but we'll save it.
Yeah. Well, we've been friends for a long time, dude.
Yeah.
I've been following you've always been a genuine person. You know, like through your heart, all, you know, from your head to your toes, you've always been an extremely genuine person and very passionate about everything that you've always talked to me about. No matter what it is, you seem to be extremely passionate about it. But you said that a couple times, that you felt led and you felt called. You know, and here you are finding yourself looking at this honey that you've experienced for the last 3 or 4 generations, and you had no idea was right in your backyard. You know, and again on the honor system. You know, so did you have a conversation with him as you, like you said, you strolled that property and you saw what was going on? Did you talk to him about kind of where he came from and his mindset on that?
Yeah, I immediately knocked on the door.
Hell yeah.
I was like, I gotta know. I have got to know, and I love people. If I could pull anything from road tripping or just my life, it's there's so many great people. You know, I mean, we get on the screens, and that's what really caused me to disconnect so much during the whole COVID season. Was I was like, if people just got off these things, and I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Sure, of course.
I'm saying if people just interacted, and I know that was against
with each other,
against the narrative, but if people just interacted face to face, like a lot of the turmoil would go away. And just,
oh man, different people. Same exact person, different personality, different words, different everything.
And
here.
what I've learned about technology and the algorithms, even the inventors of these, you know, platforms, is they're designed to keep you attached. And so they can do that by linking you to people of like-mindedness, or they can throw some flair in there. Get you riled up.
And get you riled up.
You know, so
that is true. That is very true. You know, it's one of those things. There was a documentary that came out on Netflix about 5 years ago called The Social Dilemma. And it was very interesting. They were talking about how these applications are built and the algorithms that flow into these applications to keep you connected. So if an application realizes you haven't opened it for a while, it's going to give you a little push. It's going to give you a little nudge. Hey, Drew, did you see Billy just posted this really cool thing about honey? Click here.
Well played.
You know, it was interesting. And then the thing that really kind of piqued my interest was not about me. It was about children and how they went after children's attention and how it impacted them. You can call me a name on social media. I'm 44, man. I don't care. You call a 12-year-old a name, and it's different. They bring it to school. They take it with them. When we were younger, social media didn't exist. So it's like when we left school, it ended. It was no big deal. But now it's 24/7, you know, of how to be able to manage that as a child and as a young teenager. And with all the stress that we dealt with coming into our own and who we are, now children have this overwhelming pressure of this social media identity that they have to have because all their friends have it and their classmates have it and everybody's got it. And it's like, again, find and balance there is got to be really interesting. But you bring up a great point. If we just put this down and connect. One of the cool things about hurricanes, when everybody runs out of power, is everybody walks out their front doors to see who else is out of power, and you meet your neighbors for the first time. And you shake hands, and you go, hey, man, hey, my name's Billy. Oh, my name's Drew. Great to meet you. Hey, I got some food in here. We're out of power. Probably going to be out of power for a couple of days. Let's everybody just get together. We'll cook all of our food. We'll make sure everybody's got something to eat over the next week and a half.
That's a good point.
You know, and then you become friends.
But, I mean, as parents, like, we've seen, like, our oldest didn't get a phone till she was 16. I think it was 16. Yeah, but I didn't get a phone till I was 16. But it was just black and white, you know, the old school thing. But
you got Snake on it. Boop.
Oh yeah, boop. That's right. I forgot about that.
And that was the step of technology was incredible.
I know. But we would see their behavior change, and not just because, and they wouldn't even be like, you know, totally engulfed in, you know, in a phone or device. This would just be from watching a show on Netflix or something. We see behavioral changes, and we're like, there's something not right here. And so we do a lot of, we spend our time outside. A lot of earthing, a lot of barefooting. We're not total hippies, but you know, just being together and making memories and trying not to be on there. But again, I'm a realist. I know, like, technology is useful. You can do a lot of good with it. You
Of
know?
course.
So yeah, but yeah, back to just kind of thinking, like, I'm an overthinker, you know, and so if I do make a decision, it's because, you know, a lot of thought.
You've thought about it a lot.
A lot of discernment, a lot of, just, you know, it's, oh man, it's a blessing and not so much.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah. So
It can be.
Yeah.
Especially if we allow it to hinder ourselves, because a lot of people, they overthink so much that they don't have the entire idea perfect, so they do nothing about
Right,
it.
yeah.
And it's like, you can't do that. You
I
know,
used
even
to-
with software, they say release often and early. You know you're going to have bugs. You know you're going to have problems. But if you wait till it's perfect, you're never going to put anything out.
Yeah.
Ever. You just kind of fix it and you learn as you go.
Right.
You know, but it's good to be an overthinker sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes.
It's, you know, it's balance. It
Yeah.
really is. Yeah.
And it sounds like that's one of the things that has been subject topic that we've talked about a couple times is balance. Finding that balance in taking the photos but watching the sunset. Finding that balance in being outside and being barefoot but you're not hippies, because you're also connected and utilizing the tools of technology, but also you're not only inside connected to technology because you can physically see how it changes the demeanor and the mannerisms of the people around you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, but you also don't want them to be completely disconnected. You don't want to be completely disconnected. Like you said, it's a great tool. You know, so it sounds like there's a lot of, let me work this whole thing out. Even though I don't have it perfected, I'm still going to go ahead and pull the trigger on this. And also to try to maintain balance in being a dad, being a husband, being a brother, being a provider, being a friend, you know, being a musician, are you a beekeeper?
Yeah. Yes.
Because that's I don't want to just talk about the honey, because the honey comes from the bees.
Yeah.
So now that is a byproduct of being a beekeeper, you know. And like you said, the agricultural impact that it has, you know. And I think that's something that we've kind of had our eyes open to a little bit over the last decade, is how vital bees are for pollination, for agriculture, for food, for consummation, for everything.
Sure. Yeah. And I'd love to keep it that way. They're genetically modifying a lot of things to self-pollinate now. And the GMOs are going crazy. So, I mean, just this year, a lot of this is fast forwarding, you know, way further into the story, but I'm constantly learning about the industry. But, you know, beekeepers will make their living from pollination contracts as well as from honey. And both are so
Pollination contracts.
And so the biggest one is like the almond bloom.
Okay.
So when California has its almond bloom, they have to truck bees in from all over the country. There's, I mean, tons of Floridian beekeepers that will send semi trucks full of bees to California to pollinate those trees. And just
Did you guys know this? I did not know this. How fascinating is that?
Yeah. So, but now, you know, they're trying to
Not a lot of bees in California.
Well, I mean,
They're bringing them from Florida.
There must be that many almond trees to where they have, you know, it's not just Florida. I mean, bees come from all over the country.
Sure. Now, these bees, they bring in hives. The bees know where they live. They bring the hives in. They go out. They pollinate. They do their thing. They come back to the hives.
They know exactly where they live.
They know exactly where they live.
Even hives right next to each other will not take a
One won't go to the other.
residence and the other one no.
Wow. Is it smell?
What?
Is it like how do they know? Like, I know because what my house looks like. I know my address. I know where I live. But there's no like 3101 on the top of the beehive, where the beehive is like, yep, that's it. Is it just is it kind of like an intuitive thing, an instinctual thing that bee just knows that's their home? Like a dog, you know, a puppy goes home.
Yeah.
It can't tell you, oh yeah, I live in the red house on the corner. You know, the dog just knows that that's home.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I wish I could answer that super scientifically, you
Sure.
know, but I'm still learning. I'm not. I
Sure.
feel like a newbie compared to some of the people we work with and some of these old timer beekeepers. You know,
They've been doing it for a long time.
But that's again, I love the things where I can keep learning. I say surfing, music, beekeeping. These are all things that are passions.
Endless too.
And you can always learn. You know, for the rest of your life, you're going to be learning. And
Yeah, you can play music every single day for the rest of your life
Still get
and
better.
scratch the surface on the depth of potential.
Yeah. Yeah.
And beekeeping sounds very similar.
It is. I learn something every time I go out there, and so
So cool.
You can dive into the, you know, bees communicate through pheromones. That's a big one. But they also see, was it ultraviolet? They don't see the normal spectrum that we see, and so some of the big beekeepers will put certain colors on the hives. So it will help them in their, you know, mapping of terrain and stuff like that.
Wow.
But we don't truck bees for pollination. We just keep bees,
Yeah.
and in Orlando, around Orlando,
Sure.
chasing the nectar flows and stuff like that. So,
Wow.
yeah, still learning, but there's
Man,
a
you
lot to
just
them.
blew my mind. I just learned so much about bees. I mean, the closest thing I come to knowing anything about a beekeeper is the new movie with Jason Statham on Prime. Like
Yeah.
I learned a little bit about bees watching
Yeah.
watching that movie.
Uh-huh.
But when you and I were talking, when you talked to a couple of weeks ago, and you were kind of walking me through it, and I was on your website the other day. I'm going to bring this up, guys, because I do want you guys to check this out. The actual, and I didn't even know you could do this, where you can adopt a hive.
That's a new thing. Yeah, I'd
This
love
is
to talk through that.
this is super cool, guys, because I really want you to see this, because this is something I want to get involved in. Like, I wanted to talk to you about. I'm like, yo, I want to get involved like ASAP. Like, how do I get involved in this? And there was some really, really cool stuff. Adopt a hive right here. You can go to petalhoneyco.com. I'm going to go ahead and grab this link. I'm going to toss it in the chat. And I want you guys to go ahead and check this out. Not only did Drew hook me in with some delicious honey, what's up, my man? But this is really an interesting thing. And not only are you kind of supporting nature, you're definitely supporting nature, you're supporting agriculture. But when you look at it, you're supporting Drew. You're supporting his wife and his family and this passion that he has. So we always talk about helping each other out. We always talk about getting involved. And this is a way that we can get involved in a couple of different ways, not only with our local industry, not only with our local community, not only just the health of our agricultural world, but being able to help our neighbor. And not only a neighbor, but the one and only Drew Miller. I mean, how fantastic is that? So I'm going to go ahead and put this up here real quick. If you guys want to head over there, which you do, go ahead and click on that link, check everything out. I'm going to read a couple of the comments. Let's see what's going on. People are asking. We had a really good Rainbow River trip this past Saturday. 23 of us went out to the Rainbow River, and we hit the lazy river for about 4 hours.
Oh, my goodness.
Bro, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Like, if you guys like stuff like that, it's kid-friendly. We go every year.
Yeah,
So,
we've been recommended for years to go do it. And
dude, when we do it next year, I'll send you an invitation.
Yeah,
It'd be great to have you
we'd
guys,
love
man.
to go.
It was, dude, nature is beautiful.
Yeah.
There's a couple, Lainey Lerner, you and I got to talk. She was having a hard time putting her phone down. I'm like, Lainey, be here. Be with us. Be with nature. It's gorgeous. So my good friend Matt Pfeiffer's in South Dakota. Good to see you, Matt. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. I appreciate you guys. So we were talking about a little bit about sunburns. What's going on? Did he get to Scudic Point? What's Scudic Point? Scoodic. Per Ben, took less time to go to Italy from Marseille than it did to Orlando from Inverness. Do you know where Inverness is?
Yeah.
So less time to go from Italy to Marseille, France,
Wow.
than it did from Orlando to Inverness, Florida.
Okay.
In the same state.
Yeah.
So it's like,
That's interesting.
when you talk about traveling the world, oh, you haven't traveled, you never left the United States. Dude, I've been to 37 different states around the country. It might as well go to 37 different countries, because they're all different.
Yeah.
The food, the people, everything is so different. And it's really cool that you've had such a dedication to Orlando and to Central Florida, to your family, and like to creating, because we can only do so much. But if everybody does the best that they can in the space that they're in, then all the spaces will be healthy.
Yeah.
All the spaces will be growing.
Yeah.
And that's so interesting to kind of look at it like that. And you seem to have stepped into a very, very big world when it comes to beekeeping and creating honey.
Yeah.
But go ahead and bring this up. Let me go ahead and pop this up real fast, because I do want to talk about this. You can adopt a hive. So walk me through that. What are we talking about what does that mean? If I adopt a hive, what am I doing?
Yeah. So this was an idea that came towards the end of last year. I had heard as I've gotten into beekeeping in the world of honey, and I had heard that bee losses can be 30 to 50% per year, and that's a lot.
Losses?
So yeah, if I had 10 hives,
Sure, you
I
lose
would,
5
on a minimum 3. Yeah, on average.
How many bees in a hive?
A healthy colony, it depends if you run a single deep box, which is their home. The bottom box is their home.
Okay.
You can run 2 deep boxes and basically have twice as big of a colony.
Okay.
Which we will do because it tends to supercharge the colony. They tend to be healthier, and then it allows us to split hives easier.
Okay.
But a healthy hive can be about 40,000 bees. So you could have 80,000.
So you're talking about losing 3 to 4 hives a year out of 10?
Oh yeah.
Holy
So we had heard these
smokes.
numbers, and then now having done it, like
You blew my mind. I thought
it's-
you were going to say 1,000. I didn't
it's-
think you were going to say 40,000.
Yeah, but it's true. So
Yeah.
we lose, this year because, and we can talk about the bear we just encountered. We didn't encounter it, but the bear found our hives and destroyed a lot of them. But
Going after that honey.
well, that's what people think, and they will eat the honey, but they're actually after.
All I know is Winnie the Pooh. He loves the honey.
I know. Yeah, that's what people reference, and it's not as cute as the story.
No.
Yeah, because it's yeah.
He doesn't have a jar of honey, and he's just eating the honey.
No, it's a free for all. But they're actually after the brood for the protein. They'll eat the honey while they're in there. But yeah. So, I mean, outside of, what we just encountered with the bear and all those losses, on a normal year, it is common to lose 30 to 50%. So at the end of last year, I was like, man, I really want to, you usually take from fall all the way to spring, like through the winter, to really care for your hives and build them out. There's not a lot of food for them. We hold back, as we pack honey into jars and stuff like that. We'll settle all our honey, like the residual amounts on the edges of buckets and drums. We settle it into a single drum, and we'll hold that back for feed for the bees. If you did this on a large scale, like say you had 1,000 hives, this would be very difficult, almost impossible to do, because it'd be it'd be too costly.
Yeah.
And so really we're trying to find this balance, and also supporting the bees in a way that's not only sustainable and realistic, but also as nature intended. The bees make honey for themselves.
Right.
They make
they're not making honey for us.
Yeah.
To go on the shelves of Publix.
No, and knowing that balance, and this everything goes back to the heart. Like, why are we doing what we're doing?
Right.
And if we feel
what's our goal? What's our purpose here?
Yeah, but if we feel called to do something, like this is why we're alive for right now, then we have to do this with absolute integrity. And seeing, the results of mismanagement or trying to fit beekeeping into Western agriculture, this monocropping, it's not going to strengthen the industry. It's not going to honor the bees.
It's going to hurt the industry.
Exactly. So we're like, how do we?
It's going to hurt the bees.
It does, and we can go down so many rabbit trails with that. But we at the end of last year, I was just kind of like, I just had this desire, like, how do we get more bees? And we can do splits only if a hive is strong enough.
Right.
So I was like, I can purchase bees up until a certain point. There's a window of time where, from our partner farms, like, we can purchase bees. And so I was like, man, I just wish we had the money to buy more. We have the capacity, we have access to enough land. Like, how can we get more hives?
Right.
Especially considering over the winter there could be some losses.
Yeah.
And just planning ahead for the spring. And so I was like, I wonder what it would look like to invite people into this process in a way that honors them, but also, where we could accomplish this goal.
Absolutely.
And so I spent about 6 hours that day just kind of
overthinking,
grinding and overthinking,
which is necessary sometimes.
Yeah.
Got to go through all the details, dude.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah. So I was just like, is this possible to bring people into this process? And I had this idea of it. People have asked, can you set up a hive at our house? I would love to, but beekeeping is so high maintenance.
Yeah, it's not just something you can set and forget. You have to take care of it,
Yep.
and you have to have the right tools. You have to have the right knowledge, the right equipment.
Right.
You can't just set a hive at somebody's house and be like, all right, Billy, see ya.
Yeah, and that's what we thought we could do when we started. I took classes, I had a mentor, and I still thought, because we're going to approach this from a natural way, we're going to really allow the bees to do what the bees are going to do. We're not going to feed them certain synthetic supplements. We're not going to do these things. We're going to do it naturally. And did it kind of hands off. And we lost all our hives.
Oh.
Yeah, all of them. We got up to about 12, and this is in the very, very beginning, and we lost all our hives. And so I learned very quickly that you have to be involved, and especially in the beginning, you need to be in your hives every week until you learn them. So I had this idea of adopt a hive. I crunched some numbers, and I was like, let's test it. So I got with a couple friends, and I got with a friend who pitched it to some other people. And we had 2 people who took a chance on us, and they adopted. Actually, both adopted half a hive. We've had people adopt whole hives since then. But I thought, what if, if a hive can yield this much honey on average, what if we ask people to pay what it would cost for us to start a hive? Buying bees can cost about $175 for a starter colony, and then by the time you buy the boxes, the frames, the lids, all the things you need for a basic hive, like a honey super and like you're right around $300 to $350.
Gotcha.
Depending if you get it painted, pre-painted, or unpainted, or assembled or unassembled.
Sure.
You can kind of take on some more workload to save yourself, a couple bucks here and there. But I was like, what if we guaranteed an average yield to someone who would take a chance on us to start a new colony, and it would benefit them because they'd be able to get honey cheaper than any way to get honey on our site. So per pound, honey is kind of, it's priced in pounds by weight.
Okay.
By weight. So I was like, if we could offer honey at the cheapest price that they could get it from us, with the way we keep bees, with our integrity, it's we can go, like, our honey is single origin. It is not heated. It is raw. So I mean, honey should be like wine. It should be nuanced by every season. If you just keep it, allow it to stay what it is. So let's say we had, some of our bees a mile apart from each other,
Okay.
and they're both in a wildflower season. Even though wildflower can be like this catch-all because it's like it comes from multiple floral sources,
Okay.
we would still never bottle those together.
Because the distance, they're totally separate.
Yeah, because we want the characteristics of each yard.
Like you said, like wine.
Like wine. And so
Wow.
we're just like, if we feel called to do something, we are going to do it to the best of our ability.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I believe when the release of knowledge happens, there's a responsibility to steward it. If you learn something and you don't put that into practice, like you're hurting yourself, you're hurting.
Yeah, you're not doing.
Yeah.
You're not honoring it.
Yeah. So it's like, as
You're
we learn,
mutating it.
as we learn. Yeah. As we learn, we now have responsibility
Yeah.
to do.
You're like, hey, I learned this new thing. Let's add that in now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as you grow, like you said, it's such a deep well of knowledge. There's so much to learn.
Yeah.
And it's, man,
and plus with
to
all
stay true to it.
Yeah. And plus nobody's doing it.
Yeah.
And we're like, let's do what nobody's doing.
Yeah.
So we had this idea. A couple people took a chance on us. We're like, this might come and bite us.
I already got one in the cart, man. I'm going to do a full hive.
Okay.
KitchenKillaz is going to jump on it, man.
Thank you.
Because I definitely want to be involved, and it's a way for, like I said, us to support the local environment, the local agriculture, and then Drew Miller, Petal Honey Company, and it's like anything that we try to do, and we try to stay as connected to the intimate passion of the local community, whatever. Like we were talking about a little pre-show, it doesn't matter what you're passionate about. I just love that people are passionate about things, and like not only are you passionate about it, but you're just staying true to it. You're honoring the entire system, and you're learning as much as you can. And when you do something, Drew Miller, you do it, and like you said, you do it to the best of your ability, not only because you're driven to, but there's a responsibility to do it to the best of your ability, and to honor the best way to do it, not only in respect for people, but for the bees themselves. Yeah. Like you said, if we have two hives and they're apart from each other, even though they're both in wildflower season, you're not going to bottle them together.
Yeah.
Because it's like wine. I never even considered to make that relation. That honey is like wine.
Yeah.
Now, when you say wildflower, now I see you have a couple choices in hives. When you get the honey, you can do wildflower honey or orange blossom honey. So that honey the orange blossom honey is specifically generated from pollinating orange blossoms.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then wildflowers, is that just an amalgamation of different types of flowers?
It is, yeah. And wildflower is something that, so you have multifloral and monofloral.
Okay.
And you can't, it's hard to guarantee 100% of a monofloral.
Yeah, you got 40,000 bees,
Bees
dude.
are going to do what they want. Yeah. But if you put your hives in an orange grove.
Yeah. That's what you're going to get.
During the bloom, that's what you're going to get.
And I love the smell. Like I used to live in Polk County.
It's the best.
And right across from our community was an entire orange trees, just huge orange groves. Yeah. You could smell it so all the way in our house.
Yeah.
Like I would just smell it and be like, oh, I love this season.
Yeah. Citrus blossoms are the best. I think they're the best smell on earth.
No, same. Yeah. Orange blossom and jasmine are two of my favorite smells ever.
Yeah.
And orange blossom, there was a perfume a while ago that had such a genuine, mild smell of orange blossom. I absolutely fell in love with it. It was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. But lemon, lime, they have that pleasant smell just like oranges do. Yeah.
And there's all those different types of honeys to a degree around are available, and I know you guys offer orange blossom and wildflower.
Orange blossom, wildflower, and palmetto.
And palmetto.
So saw palmetto is Florida's oldest honey.
Okay.
And a lot of people are standoffish about it. They'd be like, if I haven't heard of it, it doesn't necessarily have a glamorous.
Yeah,
When you think of wildflowers, you think of pastures filled with
Yeah, just
wildflowers.
different colors, just rolling hills of gorgeous flowers.
It paints a beautiful picture.
Yeah, when you think of orange blossoms too, it's very, very similar. You think of just a beautiful orange grove and the beautiful oranges and the white, blossoms.
Yeah.
And what's the other called?
Palmetto, saw palmetto.
Salt. See, it doesn't have a very appealing, but probably fantastic honey.
It is, and it's
Florida's oldest honey.
Florida's oldest honey, yeah, and it's so abundant. And sometimes people say, what is the healthiest honey?
Yeah,
and I mean, the healthiest honey will be the least adulterated. One that's not cut with corn syrup, one where the bees are not overfed with corn syrup. But anyway,
try to stay as natural as possible.
Oh yeah, but I would say the healthiest honey is the honey that comes from plants that encounter the least amount of people.
Gotcha.
And so with the citrus industry,
keep us out of it, man.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
We just mess things up.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, palmetto is just wild. It's it's a wild plant.
Wow.
And
saw palmetto.
Saw palmetto.
Okay.
If you've heard of palmetto berries, there was that trend for a while where people were going out and getting palmetto berries and filling their trunks and cashing in for palmetto berries because palmetto is good for prostate issues.
Gotcha.
And so that you can
and real quick, honey. There's so many holistic things that honey. I mean, even from when I was a little kid, and my family is Italian on one side and like Irish, German, Native American on the other side. Okay. And it didn't matter where you were coming from. Honey was always involved in helping make you feel better. Put a little of this in a tea, put a little of this in hot water, a little bit of honey, a little bit of this, and like honey has been such a holistic, I guess, tool or just something that you can consume. There's so many health benefits to it. Mm-hmm. And like you said, keep people out of it. Just let the bees do their thing.
Right.
And I think like the scope of potential of the holistic things that plants and agriculture can provide is just amazing to me. Where it's like, the extract of this specific root of this specific flower helps with this. Mm-hmm. Like you said, helps with your body, helps with the way your body processes things. Mm-hmm. And like you said, it helps. At that time, there was a big push where a lot of it was like, it helps with prostate issues, it helps with this issues. And like, the more we stay out of it and we allow nature to do their own thing without us having to inject GMOs, inject any kind of synthesized thing, like you're trying not to, you don't synthesize anything. You're not shoving corn syrup down their faces. You're trying to let them do their own thing and just naturally let them live and be healthy. Yeah. And that again, there's that balance of, when some people can look at it, they go, it's a business. I need to produce as much as possible. How do I grow my yield, and how do I less my financial involvement because I'm trying to make money? Yeah. And it's like, if you do it that way, then you're going to find people that are going to synthesize it. They are going to kind of like adulterate it. Yeah. Where they're not going to respect it and they're not going to honor it because they're looking at a goal of profit instead of goal of actually helping the local economy, the local agriculture, and the bees themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's it's sad to say it's kind of the industry standard.
Really?
And, and that, again, overthinker, like if we're going to see an industry preserved and healed, like we have to get to some of the root issues. Yeah. And some of the root issues are honey is viewed as a sweetener alternative or a condiment. And so I liken it just to paint a picture to like the value of gold versus silver in comparison to honey and maple syrup. Maple syrup, and real maple syrup will drive double the amount of price than honey in most cases.
Wow.
Why is that?
Why is that?
Yeah, it shouldn't be that way. It's just like, gold is what, $2,000 an ounce, and silver is what, $50 an ounce? Like the spread is too big.
Massive.
Yeah, so we're like, okay, people will be less likely to adulterate honey, cut corners. They'd be more likely to work together if the price of honey were raised. Yeah. But every year we get, I don't even know how many, it's millions and millions of pounds of counterfeit honey that comes from other countries.
Counterfeit honey?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You're blowing my mind right now, Drew Miller.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, dude.
Yeah.
I will say this. If you guys have a moment, please, by all means, head over to their website, head to petalhoneyco.com, and check out Adopt a Hive for a year. And that's not bad. Like that's pretty cool for a year, and you guys get some delicious honey. You get to pick what kind you get, orange blossom, wildflower, or whatever you want. You're genuinely helping a local industry. You're helping my man Drew, his entire family, and listen to how passionate. Listen to how he's honoring every single step of the way. When you buy this end product, it's not just the end product that you're buying. It's how they got to that end product. How did they make that end product? Was it done with honor? Was it done with love? Was it done out of selflessness? And it sounds like that's exactly kind of the things that you're looking at, the pillars of success that you're basing this on. You are doing it out of honor. You are doing it out of love. You are doing it out of selflessness. But also, it's a business, and you need to be able to do it. Like you said, you don't want to have 1,000 hives. You can't take care of it. It's too much. So to find that balance again.
Right.
What an interesting. I would love to have you back for number 2, dude, because I feel like we're just scratching the surface. You blew my mind by semis of bees being shipped over to California to pollinate things over there. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
And each hive, upwards of 40,000 bees. Wow.
Yeah, healthy hive. Yeah.
Holy smokes, dude. So what is the best way, if aside from heading to petalhoneyco.com, which you want to do, you want to head to the website, you want to adopt a hive for a year. KitchenKillaz is doing it. I'm getting ready to. I got one in the cart right now. I was actually going to go through the whole thing, but then I put my payment information in. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. But I almost got through the whole thing. But when we talk about helping the local community, when we talk about helping each other, this is such a direct way to specifically mainline not only being able to help our local economy, not only being able to help the local, just the wildlife, the bees, but Drew and his passion. And he's honorable about it. He's thorough about it. And like you said, this is not a man who's you're not cutting corners at all.
No.
Like, you're learning as much as you can. It sounds like you take everything into consideration before you even take a step, but you're still taking steps, man. And that is the big thing. Because a lot of people, they don't take any steps. They overthink way too much, and then they just set it aside because it can be so overwhelming. Yeah. But it sounds like you're dipping your toe into a very big ocean, and you're doing it with a lot of honor, dude.
Yeah.
And that is super, super cool, guys. Yeah. Head over to petalhoneyco.com and adopt a hive for a year. $199 for a half hive, and a whole hive for $349. And you're not getting nothing for your labor. So check it out. Make sure you head over to the website. Click on Adopt a Hive. It's the very first shortcut on the upper left-hand corner on the main bar. Go ahead and click on that, and let's give a little love to my man Drew Miller. Adopt a hive for a year, $349. Come on, guys, that's easy. That's less than $1 a day. Less than $1 a day.
Yeah, you get 2 gallons of honey. And
that's a lot of honey, bro.
Lot. And we ship it every other month to your house. So
nice.
The shipping's included in that, and so do you
guys do local farmers markets? Do you guys are you just web based, or do you also get out there into the community, set up a beautiful table with a little tent, and you and your family go out there and you just sell honey like the awesome millers that you are?
We get that question a lot. I wish we had more time to do the farmers market.
Sure.
A lot of times you have to commit to a certain amount of time.
Okay.
Our son plays baseball. Our older daughter dances a lot.
Well, I will say this: we have shows here every month, and I would love to let me buy like 2 dozen bottles of these, and I would love to put them out here and push it. Cool. We're doing our season premiere here is October 4th. We're going to have a bunch of 10-foot tents set up. We have a full stage. We're doing our season premiere for season 8 kickoff for Kitchen
Okay.
I'd love to have you join us, man.
Yeah.
It would be really cool. It's going to be on a Friday. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have so many great people here, and bring a lot of honey because they're going to buy it all.
Okay.
Because we'll do nothing but promote the crap out of it and then after.
Yeah.
But I will say this, Drew, we're already running a little late. Thank you so much for being here, bro. I really appreciate it, Drew. This was so cool. What a great way to catch up. I'm glad we got to talk to each other. It's been too long. Yes. You introduced me to some stories that I still tell people just about road trips and camping. I learned a lot. I've always learned a lot from you, So not only is he a fantastic musician, but he's an incredible beekeeper as well. So make sure you head over to petalhoneyco.com, click on the link, adopt a hive, $349 for a full hive for a year, and you get 2 gallons of honey.
Yeah.
That's a lot of honey, bro.
It is a lot of honey. But we with our family, we eat a lot of honey because of how much we believe in it. But we go through a half a gallon every month.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's healthy.
It's so healthy.
It's a very, very healthy thing.
It's medicine, basically. If you leave it alone, it's
100%. Here's a question right here. A question for Drew: do you make your own bee nooks or purchase? And if so, any favorite manufacturers?
The nukes itself, the boxes, or the bees that come in those boxes?
Plant Mom 9000. We need a clarification on that.
We don't need to clarify right? Because we buy both.
Yeah.
Yeah. I found it's easier to get. I mean, the people who breed these bees. You know, they do it specifically on strong genetics and stuff like that. And so it's just we have more success purchasing the bees. And then when you purchase the bees, you get it in a temporary nuke, which we immediately transplant into a full box as quick as possible. So yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Very, very cool. I hope that answered your question, Plant Mom 9000. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. My name is Billy Floyd. This is Drew Miller. Make sure you check out petalhoneyco.com and adopt a hive. I mean, it's nice and easy, baby. Again, a full hive. You get 2 gallons of honey. Adopt a hive for a year for less than $1 a day, and you're really contributing not only to the agriculture, not only to the health of the local environment, not only to the bees, but also to my man Drew Miller and his incredible family. Yeah. Dude, thanks again, Drew. I really appreciate it, bro. Really. Thank you so much for being here, man. Yeah. You guys have a good night. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm about to crack into some delicious honey right here, bro, because I don't. This is going to be fantastic. Yeah. I'm so excited. You guys have a good night. Stay out of trouble. For everybody joining us this evening, thank you guys. I love each and every one of you. Happy Monday. And again, head over to petalhoneyco.com and adopt a hive. Why not? It's going to be fun. I'm about to do it right now.
Okay.
We'll talk to you guys soon. By the way, I'm going to put this back up just because he's such a good-looking guy. Boom. Drew Miller, Petal Honey Co. Look at that smile. Look at that smile. Take care, guys.